And when Rochelle comes out, she'll talk about it too. I want to give it a little turn. These are spikes of incredible color. Each one of these spikes has hundreds of little, what I call feeding stations with the pollen and the nectar. So that's why it's called a butterfly bush. Butterflies recognize this, they will flock to your yard, okay? So will honeybees, hummingbirds, all those things will come because there's lots of food, all right? Each one of these little sort of tendril things is loaded with food. It's red, white, and blue purple. So perfect for the 4th of July, okay? So if you wanna get it now and start growing it, you'll have it in full bloom by the time the 4th of July gets here, which I think is amazing. I also love the wildness of it, and Rochelle will talk to that when she comes out. She'll be out in 2 seconds. And I love the foliage. The foliage is not like a dark green, it's a pale green. It's so beautiful, it offsets the color. Look at the wild shots. These are the shots that you're gonna see next that are out. Look at how amazing that is. What's more amazing? It's $17.95. Buy 2, buy 3, buy 4, I don't care. Buy as many as you want. Rochelle Grayer, who is our gardener extraordinaire, is chiming in from Boston. I believe you're in Boston today. Hi, Rochelle. Yep. Rochelle, we cannot keep this thing in stock. We keep ordering it. They love it.
Yeah, well, for good reason, I mean, what you're getting here is really, it's basically 3 plants, and that's how we're getting the 3 colors. But we grow them from tiny baby plants together so that, when it comes, it just looks like one plant, right? And it basically kind of acts as one plant. Those roots and everything are growing together. But what you are getting is really 3 times the roots and 3 times the, growth power on the top as well. So, when you're thinking about this, it's, a lot basically. And if you've ever grown butterfly bush, you know that it is a very easy plant to grow. I'm up here in Boston. It is very tough up here throughout basically the entire lower 48. It can handle the winter. It can handle the heat. It can handle just about anything you throw at it. This particular variety, there are 3 varieties in here, but this particular shrub has been selected to not grow super big. Up here in Boston, my butterfly bushes, not this one, but basically all of them, they die down basically right to the ground, almost like a perennial, even though they're a woody shrub. But they put on, 4 or 5 feet of growth per year, so that all comes back every season. If you're down south, you may not lose all those woody branches, but it'll just be that much fuller and more beautiful year in and year out. So, this is a tremendous plant that you just really can't go wrong with. It doesn't get out of control. It stays in that nice rounded sort of habit, which is also great for containers, whether you want to plant it in the ground or container, either one. I love them in containers because it's so simple. 1 plant, 1 container. I'd put it in a minimum of a 16-inch container and you're done for the season. Just put it wherever you need it.
Let it go, right? You know what I love, and Rochelle, you always talk about this, and it always puts a picture in my mind. It reminds me of something that you would think that would be like growing wild in a forest, right? Something that's begging for attention, like of all the creatures to come to it. It puts on this amazing show and display. I love 2 of them in the front of your yard, right? So if you want to flank the entryway, perfect for that, right? Or maybe you've got a little patio garden in the front of your house and you want to put a couple of stars between this and the mini roses. Those mini roses are ridiculous, okay? You will have the most beautiful plants in the neighborhood. So you're wondering, okay, Guy, I live way up in the north, all right? We're just getting, the frost is still here. Don't worry about it. Here's what happens. You order today. We know where your zip code is by your order. You will not be charged, or this will not ship until your time is right. So if you live in the northern half of the country, you're gonna be more towards the end of April and May. If you live in the middle of the country, it's gonna be middle of April, late March. And if you live in the southern part, we're already shipping those out because we're in April already. So you will get those directly. Everybody that orders gets one of these. This is a brochure that will tell you everything you need to know about your butterfly bush, okay? Inside it, there are lots of great tips. There's you know what I love too? It's a phone number. There's an 800 number, just call if you got any questions. But it tells you what type it is, whether it's an annual or a perennial. It tells you how much sun it wants, how much water it needs, time to reach maturity. This is only 24 months before this gets to be this big. So in the first year, you'll get about half this, right? And then remember, it's perennial, so it's gonna grow bigger and bigger and get stronger as the roots set up better and better. But look at how gorgeous that is. I have a lot of people, I would imagine, I'm talking to my producer, Jared, we have a lot of people probably ordering 2 and 3 of these right now, Jared. Yeah, so if you want it, get it home. To me, what a great, it's so different from some of the other flowers that we have, Rochelle, but still so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones. I'm a naturalistic type of gardens are a real trend in garden design right now. Things that look a little more wild, a little less of that perfectness that we tend to cultivate in the horticulture industry. We're kind of tending towards more biodiversity and a little bit wilder, a little bit more natural looking. And this is definitely one of those plants. Not only does it have that look of just being a little bit looser, it has those beautiful silvery leaves that are, you know, kind of sage green on the top and like almost white on the bottom. Like it's a really interesting texture and color, but it also is easy to grow, and it is a huge food source for our pollinators. So that's another big element of naturalistic gardening, is doing something that is right for the environment, right for the ecosystem, right for the planet. And this is one of those. So butterflies, hummingbirds, bees, I mean, they're just flocking to these flowers that are, you know, these big cones, they're big. They're, you know, 8 inches at least of flowers kind of all the way up this stem, and they smell amazing. That's the other really great thing about this. They are, they're very unique. Nothing else in the garden smells like a butterfly bush. They smell like a hot pot of honey. You know, if you were to warm up honey, it would make it extra honey smelling. That's how these smell. So you'll recognize it in the garden if you love a fragrant garden like I do. I mean, I shop with my nose. This is one of those great additions to your garden just for that alone. Just bring in that beautiful, you know, summer smell. I mean, it smells like summer. Oh, and by the way, these are really great too, because a lot of the things that we grow tend to bloom early, and then they're done blooming by the heat of the summer. You know, when it gets just like too hot and nobody really wants to even be outside. These are one of those plants that are going to carry you through that super hot part. They love that kind of climate, and they will bloom right through that tougher season when it's a little trickier to get, you know, a lot of real color in your garden and whatnot, because a lot of plants just can't take the heat and they don't want to bloom in that time. A butterfly bush will be the thing that carries you through and really gives you a lot of interest in your garden right through until you get to fall, when we have that big explosion of color again. So this really is a problem solver too.
And I love that you can actually, these are great in arrangements because you've got these long stems and they're pretty stiff, the actual stem on this. You can use these in cuttings and mix them with roses or whatever other kind of flower that you want. Remember, if you want butterflies, hummingbirds to come, you got to put some food out. That's what these do. Plus, they look absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at that. I think it's one of our prettiest collective looks in a flower, because you got all these multicolors and very easy to maintain. 1-year warranty. Order as many as you want. All right, Rochelle's going to stand by. I want to talk about something that's so ridiculous. I didn't even know they created it. Remember the guys, or the guy, I should say, that invented the Roomba? I own a Roomba. Maybe you do too. Well, the same guy, Joe Jones, he also created a product called the Weed Robot. Okay, it's called the Turtle Weed Robot. It actually